Hi, I'm Krishna and I'm a language lover. Welcome to part 3 of how to create a phonological system. If you haven't seen part 1 and 2 of these series yet, you probably best click those first. There I also explain what a phonological system is, and then you can come back to this part. Today I'm going to talk about an average size and an average complexity phonological system. As in part 1 and 2, we're going to start with the consonant and vowel inventories. Then we're going to see the phonotactics, so that's the phonological rules, how to put those sounds into syllables and then into words. And in the end, I'm going to read a sample text for you. So let's start with the consonant inventory again. I chose an average size consonant inventory, which has, in this case, 23 consonants. Again, you have the table here. In the columns, you have the bilabial or labiodental sounds that are produced with the lips and possibly with the teeth. Then the alveolar sounds produced with the tongue against your alveolar. Then the sibilant affricate sounds. These are S-like sounds. Then the alveolo-palatal sounds. These are sh-like sounds. Then the velar sounds produced further back in your throat, and finally the glottal sounds. I'm gonna read all these sounds to you again, first at the beginning of a syllable, then in the middle of a syllable, and then at the end of a syllable, where the other vowels are always A's. So let's start with the bilabial sounds. There we have the pa, apa, up, then ba, aba, ab, fa, afa, af, ma, ama, and wa, awa, awa. Notice again there's a variant. We have both the bilabial approximant w, and it can also be pronounced more with the teeth included as well, a v sound. So a w and a v would be two variants of the same phoneme. That's actually quite common. Let's continue with the alveolar sounds. Ta, ata, at, da, ada, ad, na, ana, an, la, alla, al. Then the sibilants, they are chose affricates and then a simple fricative. So an affricate is actually composed of two different sounds, but in this case they are considered as one phoneme, as one basic sound of the language. Here you see the IPA version, and in within these brackets you see the C, so that's how it's actually written in the written form of this language. Tsa, atsa, ats, za, adza, adz, sa, asa, as, ra, ara, ar. Again, we have a variant of this phoneme, that's the r sound. So it could also be pronounced ra, ara, ar. Then the alveolo-palatal sounds. Again, this is an affricate. Cha, acha, ach. In the written form, it has this hachek, this turned over hat on it, or this hook on it, and in IPA it's this sign ch. Ja, aja, aj, sha, asha, ash, and the nasal nya, anya, any, ya, aya, ay. Then the velar sounds ka, aka, ak, ga, aga, ag, nga, anga, ang. Please note that I used the Q letter of the alphabet for this sound, but it's actually more like an usually written NG, but I wanted to have one single letter for this sound, so I chose Q because I don't use it for anything else. So this is the ng, as in thing, sang. Finally, the glottal sounds. We have a, Again, this is a sound that's not so easy to hear if you're not used to hearing it. It's actually when everything in your throat closes and no air, no sound can come out. So you best hear it between two vowels, ah, 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 ah. If there was no glottal stop, it would be ah. With glottal stop, it's ah, ah. Finally, ha, aha, ah, or as a variant, the ch, cha, acha, ach. We already saw this in part 2. Please note that the R, of course, is not a sibilant, but it fit well in this chart here, and I didn't want to add a special column just for the R sound. Then also note that these consonants are fairly common among languages. I checked the languages like Standard Hebrew or Ivrit, German, Standard German, Serbo-Croatian or Japanese have consonant inventories that are quite close to this one. There's no one language that has exactly those consonants, but all these languages have most of these consonants and usually one or two additional ones. Let's continue with the vowels. I chose a vowel inventory of 9 vowels. That's already quite big, but it's still doable. Languages like Romanian or Vietnamese have a similar vowel system to this one. I will read the vowels to you once in a short and then in a long form. I, e, then the central ones, and finally the back vowels, o, o. Again, note that there are first you see the IPA symbols, and then within quotation marks you actually see how in the written form these letters are represented. Because, for example, this sound you don't find on a standard keyboard for your computer, but producing these is way easier, also with your mobile phone. Now to the phonotactics. This time I chose that there are again 2 possible types of syllables. The first one is again the CV, F in brackets. We've seen that already. So a syllable is always starting with a consonant, then with any vowel, and it might be finished with a final consonant, an F, which is one of those 7 here. So this is either a nasal, n, m, ng, ny, or voiceless stop, k, t, p. The other possibility is that a syllable is composed by any consonant followed by W. What is this W? It stands for a diphthong. Diphthongs are 2 different vowels in a row. In this case, it's vowel I, vowel U, or vowel Ö, which are all high vowels. And I also subtracted these 3 diphthongs, which are the diphthongs that are composed of the same vowel. So I, U, and Ö are actually not diphthongs, so for mathematical correctness, I took them out. Let's see what kind of syllables can be produced by these rules, by these 2 rules. You have simple syllables, CV syllables like cha. Then you have syllables with a final consonant like tin, ok. Then you have syllables with a diphthong, bau. Other syllables would be luk, fol, he, runy, joy. How are words composed? Again, words are composed by any number of single syllables. So you can take any of those different kinds of syllables, put them next to each other, and have a word. Examples would be dai, in, sakli, mönfu, kamzo, ni a shung, di wa lok, marindi, oi ma kopsu, gal bin hakwei, nyukat eutse. You notice that these words get already more complex than in the videos before. Still, they are pronounceable. Here you can see that with average size consonant and vowel inventories and some very easy rules of creating syllables, you can already produce a very big amount of different words with these simple rules. Now to the pronunciation rules, or the one pronunciation rule. I decided to take the no audible release for final stops in this case. What does that mean? It's a rule that occurs in Southeast Asian languages like Thai, Vietnamese, Cantonese. If you have a final stop, a voiceless stop at the end of a syllable, it's not released. What does that mean? So you form the sound with your mouth, with your tongue, but you don't let the air go out afterwards. What does that sound like? Let's take some example. Hak, ut, wang. So the T, I produce the T with my tongue, but I don't release the T. I don't say ut, wang, I say ut, wang. Nanji. Again, hak, ut, wang, nanji. So using the phonological system that we just produced, let's see a sample text. This time again, it doesn't really have a meaning. If you want, you can give it a meaning. First, you see the text in a written form as written on a usual keyboard, then the phonemic form, where you just see the different phonemes, and finally the phonetic form in IPA, where I also included the no audible release. So let me read it for you. Tsom, curry, hotka, tandonei, ka shanli. Keng curry, takra, liede, zehui, tsuko. Ushany, yobo, curry, emlan jeidu, teki, celedui, he kim, nol sofo. Chumchup, tsui, napka curry, mukya yang boko, zatum kei. Fing tse lan hon shui chup, ro riam, ku chat, kashil, wibup, at gu. If you ask me, because of this no audible release, the whole language has kind of a Southeastern Asian vibe. It doesn't really sound like any of those last languages. Still, it has this kind of vibe energy to it. How do you like it? Thanks for your attention for part 3 of how to make a phonological system. If you're inventing a language, probably you might add in the comments what you think of this video and how you can use the things you see here for your own language, or how you just understand how languages work in general. And I will see you in part 4 and the last part of the series, how to create a phonological system.